All right. What's going on Facebook? LinkedIn, YouTube. Jason LaFleche here with Results Realty. Special guest in the studio today, of course, James Regan with Sharp Point Private Client Group. You're going to be talking, what are you going to be talking about today?
Talking about life insurance.
Little life insurance?
Yeah, a little life insurance, and mortgage protection insurance.
Okay.
We talk a lot about real estate and buying homes and, getting good interest rates on our mortgages and all that stuff. But unfortunately, I've had a few clients pass this year, so it kind of always hits home and talking about making sure that that house is protected in the event of an unfortunate passing.
Right. Interesting.
So we're talking about it.
Audience, how does James's hair look? Not a hair out of place, of course.
That's what we're trying to do.
Same with Josh Nastall over there.
I'm in the corner today.
He's in the corner every day.
Baby's in the
Almost.
corner.
Josh Nastall
We can
with
switch next
What
time.
is that supposed to mean?
Homeowners Financial Group.
God.
And we're going to have a good show today. Got some great topics,
Yeah,
so
maybe.
make sure you listen in. We're going to start here in about 20 seconds.
Yeah, we never have those open.
Uh-uh.
I've never seen that.
It's kind of cool.
One of my other branches is literally right there. Our Biltmore branch.
Really?
In that building.
That's cool. Jeremy, you ready to rock?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Here we go, segment 1, 15 minutes.
Live. This is your Real Estate Power Hour, the longest running real estate talk show in Arizona. Right here, right now, on KKNT 960, The Patriot. Now, here are your hosts of the Real Estate Power Hour, Jason LaFleche, team leader at Results Realty, and Josh Nastall with Homeowners Financial Group.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Real Estate Power Hour. Live interactive show right here in your station, KKNT 960, The Patriot. I'm Jason LaFleche with Results Realty. Thanks for tuning in. Joined by my co-host, that's right, the one, the only, Josh Nastall with Homeowners Financial Group. What's going on, Josh?
What is up, Jason? Not much, man. Loving this Arizona weather and loving the outdoors today, man. We never have the studio opened up. It's great.
Pop open the windows, why not? Shed some
not?
light.
Why not? Let the world see you, Jay.
Hey, another week, another radio show. Josh, we're going to be hitting the lake this week coming up, man. Are you excited?
I am. I'm excited. I've never been on the lake with you, though, so I'll have to watch myself.
In what way?
I don't know. I don't know if you're going to be I don't know if you're going to be a maniac out there, more reserved, jumping off cliffs.
No. Don't want to hurt myself. I'm too old for that.
Me too, man.
Yeah, too old for that.
I'll be 40 in 20 days.
Ooh,
Wow.
Big 4-0.
congratulations, man.
And yet not a gray hair.
I don't know if that's
40's a new 30.
Is that a
It
new-
doesn't matter.
It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Not at all. Special guest in the studio today, of course, James Regan, gracing us with his presence about, what, once a month? Once a month on that train?
Yeah, it's about where we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sharp Point Private Client
Get
Group.
the obligatory regulatory
Yeah, I
stuff
gotta
out of
read
the way.
this thing. Investment advice offered through Sharp Point, a registered investment advisor. Insurance offered through Sharp Point Insurance Group. Sharp Point and Sharp Point Insurance Group are separate entities.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that.
My pleasure. My pleasure. We have a very full show today. Some great topics. So why don't we dive in so we can cover all this? Josh, you have a market update for us, sir?
I do. So James was asking me about rates prior to the show. So I've talked about this for the last month. We were riding for about 30, 25 days of super low rate wave, so to speak. Still much lower than economists were anticipating this year, but they're starting to go up a little bit. Still, if you're wanting to refi, I've been talking about this for the last 4 or 5 weeks, do it now. You're still looking in that 4.3 to 4.5% right now. Good news is rates are expected to hold through 2020, which has been surprising to some people out there.
And to think in late 2018, we were all thinking rates would be 5.5%, 6%.
Talking about the sky falling, right?
Right. Gotta love
Pending home sales were up 3.8% in March, which is great. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but personal income is up almost a full percent, which is good for everyone. It's pocketbook.
Yep.
So the supply of the labor force is gaining. So, the unemployment and the labor force, it's, all A+ stuff. Can't beat that. Consumer sentiment went down a little bit in April. Not sure why that is, but I have some articles that might prelude to that a little bit later in the show. Mortgage companies are still very bullish on 2019. Like we talked, like Jason, you said at the end of 18, people were talking about how bad it was going to be this year, but a lot of the big mortgage companies are thinking that the end of the year is going to be awesome. So we'll keep our eyes on that. I'm going to kind of get into your little segment here. So I got 3 little special articles for you here.
Okay, what do you got?
So check this out. I mean, I don't know. I have a Florida license, but lending license, but I don't use it all that much.
Okay.
That is the highest mortgage fraud state in the country. And let me find my number here of every loan. Hold on a second.
I wonder why that would be. Why Florida?
I don't know. I think it has to do. I was actually talking to some people at one of my company events. They're from Florida.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of undocumented people living there.
Interesting.
I think that might be where it stems
Yeah,
from.
very well could be.
But it's super, super high there. Miami is the highest in the country. 9%. Every loan there, 9% of them has some type of mortgage fraud on it. Almost 10%.
Jeez.
It's a lot.
Now, when you say mortgage fraud, does that mean that they're reporting inaccurate income numbers or something like that? Or what does mortgage fraud mean?
I mean, it could be a lot of stuff. Generally, the biggest fraudulent thing is creating false stuff.
Okay.
It could be creating false IDs, false, documents to say that they're allowed to be in the United States. Prior to 2010, the biggest thing was people would create fake W-2s.
Yeah.
Because prior to 2010, there weren't a lot of checks and balances on taxes and W-2s.
Yeah.
So that was the big one. So mostly it's fake documentation.
Interesting.
Handing something that you know is fake into your lender is a big no-no.
Yeah.
Huge no-no.
Oh yeah.
This is right up your alley again, Jay. San Francisco Bay Area home prices fall for the first time in 7 years. 7 years, buddy.
Well,
It's a long time, right?
I've been talking about it for a long time. It's what goes up must come down eventually, because it gets to that breaking point on what people can really afford. I mean, what makes sense, right?
I was literally having this almost exact conversation with a client yesterday over lunch, and he was talking to me about a house that in San Francisco, a friend of his has, and it's like 1,300 square feet, split 2 levels, right? So it's like a shoebox.
Yeah.
It's like worth like 1.6 million. It's at the bottom of the bay down in San Jose. I'm like, how's that even affordable? Like
That's over $1,000 a square foot.
Yeah, like eventually that it just prices itself out of the market. Right?
Yeah.
You can't even afford something like that.
Yeah. To James' point, the median sales price is $830,000, and it dropped 0.1% in March. That which ends an 83 consecutive month increase.
Ooh. 0.1%, huh?
Wow, pretty nuts, huh? The last one. You guys ever see Jeopardy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a guy on Jeopardy who has won 17 straight episodes. Guess what his earnings were?
I know he was up north of million. He was north of a million,
right?
Almost 1.3 million.
Wow.
On Jeopardy.
Dang.
No,
Wow.
I guess you study up, kids.
You think they're feeding him? I mean, is he really that smart, or you think he's getting a little inside info?
17 in a row, dude. I mean, he's got to be.
I feel like Jeopardy's really protective of their intellectual property. That they're not going to feed someone information. Like I think the guy's just a savant. Like he's just a freaking genius.
Well, and I don't know. Maybe you changed on something more, but I think they give you the topics.
I don't know that much about Jeopardy. Like, what was that White Men Can't Jump? Like when the wife was studying to be on Jeopardy. Like that's the most extent I know about like what people do to prepare for Jeopardy.
Well, I was saying, and you know what? I was thinking that they got to give you something to at least study on, like the topics, because how some of these people can't all be that good at trivia.
That's true too.
Some of those
you know what I'm saying?
So off the wall. They have to be able to study up on something
to make the show to where it's like, every single question they don't know the answer to, right?
Right.
But hey,
yeah, I think it's real. I mean, I think he did it.
I think so too.
Their minds are just built that way.
Yep.
So just like what you were talking about, Josh, a second ago, talking about the increase in wages.
Yep.
So that leads right into 2 trends that help keep housing affordable, and this is right up your alley, my friend. But two positive trends that started to emerge that impact the 2019 spring housing market. Mortgage interest rates for a 30-year fixed rate loan have dropped to new lows. Reuters reports show that that wages have increased at their highest rate in decades.
Sure.
And I'm sure you're seeing that. And this thing says right here, these two factors that have helped keep housing affordable despite low supply of houses for sale driving up prices. We've seen about a 5, 6, 7% increase since the beginning of 2019. And I've been dealing with quite a few of my clients that are buyers and sellers here recently. And they're like, Jason, what's your take on the market? And I just keep saying it's just a very healthy market. It's good for buyers and sellers.
I second that point. Like the market, and the economy and the market in general. And I'm going to step out the stock market for a second, but I think the economy and the housing market are both in a healthy place, especially in Arizona. Like I get there's some markets, like maybe San Francisco might be a little bubblish,
Right.
but I think like Arizona's housing market is very, very stable.
I think with the coupling of interest rates being in the low 4.25-ish, right?
That's
4.3,
historically
4.5,
insane.
So somewhere in there.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if you're balking at that, then you just are spoiled by the threes that we lived through.
Well, you got to move on.
Yeah, and that was artificial. Like that was that was a lot of quantitative easing back
Yeah.
in the day too. That drove a lot of those rates really artificially low.
Yeah. If you live your life looking in the rearview mirror every single day, hoping for things to come, you just can't do that. You got to get realistic. I
And
think.
they're not coming back that way. So
No. Mortgage interest rates had been on the rise for most of 2018. Josh, we experienced all that
That was rough.
before reaching their peak in November at 4.94%-ish. Okay, so close to 5%. According to Freddie Mac's primary mortgage market survey, interest rates last week came in at 4.2 last week. Average hourly earnings grew at an annual rate of 3.2% in March, up substantially from 2.3% average pace seen over the last 10 years. So these two factors contributed nearly $6,000 worth of additional house buying power for median households from February to March 2019. Now, are you kind of seeing that to where people are being able to afford a little bit more with the increase in pay and the lower interest rates?
Yes, 100%, Jay. We've talked about that before. It's like a kind of a perfect storm. You've got rates that are going low, and you've got personal income going up. And I think we talked about it the other day. I don't remember the exact number, but I think with the median buyer can afford almost $9,000 in more home.
Right.
And this was a few weeks back, but I think those were the numbers.
Yeah.
I think it was about $110 less in payment.
Yep.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So you're 100% right. And I'll talk a little bit later in the show. The income increase isn't just affecting buying homes either. There's something else that it's playing a factor in.
Ooh, let's talk about that in the next segment. So if you plan on purchasing a home this year, act now while rates are still low. Get off that fence, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
I've been dealing with a lot of buyers recently, and they are either upsizing or downsizing, but they're making that move right now because they can get good money for their current home that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a solid market there. And then what we do is we just find another good deal, and you have one of the better real estate agents on your side, a guy named Jason LaFleche, to be able to negotiate for you and get you the best value when it comes to buying. But there are some tricks of the trade, if you will, when it comes to how to find a good deal on a home. And a lot of it has to do with how many days on the market. And then if you do end up liking a home, maybe a home that has more days on the market, look at tax records. See when those current people bought the home, how much they paid, so you can see what kind of movement that you have as far as negotiating. It's not that hard.
It's pretty smart.
It's just not that hard.
Thinking outside the box.
I'll tell you what. Hey, let's give you guys a few phone numbers. Jason LaFleche. I'm Jason LaFleche with Results Realty, 602-369-4663. And yes, I do answer my phone. Josh Gestal with Homeowners Financial. Best number for you, sir.
602-377-1979.
And James Regan with Sharp Point Private Client Group. Best number, James.
480-999-3033.
More of your real estate power hour when we return. Stay tuned. Let's go! Yep. So when we come back from break, you guys, James, we're going to get you. We're going to do an intro for James Regan if you haven't met him yet with the Sharp Point Private Client Group. maybe have him talk for a minute or two on what he does, what he specializes in, what kind of clients that you have. I mean, it can range from 20-year-olds on up.
Yep.
So
Not,
all
not
over.
so much 20-year-olds unless they're like very savvy. But yes,
Yeah.
I'll dovetail into kind of who our ideal clients are.
Sounds good. So we'll talk about that in the next segment.
So we're here, James.
Yeah, we'll hit James, and then
That's fine. No,
yeah, this is a 9-minute.
I can take off. I can take off the segment. Let James rock and roll.
Such an a-hole. God, Josh.
I'm gonna ask you a
Why
question,
is that
Josh.
an a-hole? No, I'm not going to take
Just
off.
because you got good hair. All right, Jeremy.
It's falling out.
We'll dive in.
Ready for round two?
Yeah.
Everything's going south on me.
9 minutes.
My arm's falling apart.
Dude, my shoulder and my elbow have been hurting from
I'm in physical therapy, dude.
from doing the whole boxing thing. So, dude, am I getting too old? Ugh. Welcome back to your Real Estate Power Hour. Jason LaFleche here with Results Realty, your full-service real estate company, family-owned real estate company right here in the Valley of the Sun. I love getting calls from the radio show listeners and helping you guys out. I have some great specials that I can run to save you thousands of dollars, whether you're buying or selling. It's just my gift back to you guys for listening to the show. So we love hearing from you guys. Josh, I know you love getting the occasional calls from
Absolutely.
radio show listeners, and it's just
Absolutely.
fun.
It's great.
It's fun. Let's dive back into the show. So our special guest in the studio today is James Regan with Sharp Point Private Client Group. James, you've been on this show for 5, 6, how many years now?
Dude, we were back at 1510, right?
Back in
the day,
1510.
and then 550 for a minute there, and now to 960. So
Dude, hold on. You've been on the show for a good 8 years now,
Yeah.
actually, now that I think about it.
time flies, man.
It really
Yeah, it does.
does.
It really does. So,
But yet you still have all your hair, no gray. I'm going more gray. I don't know. Do I blame it on
It
the
might be
wife,
all
triplets? Who do I blame it on?
Yeah, I would actually probably blame. You might have to answer a lot of consumer questions that just make you think a lot. So all of a sudden the brain fries, and there's
Maybe that's what it is. Hey, so let the listeners know, if they don't know already, who you are and who Sharp Point Private Client
All
Group
right, so
is.
just kind of real broad strokes, ladies and gentlemen. You know, Sharp Point Private Client Group, we're referred to as a registered investment advisor. So we're essentially wealth managers. So my partner Brian and I are the two principals of the firm. We specialize in everything from your retirement assets, you know, your rollover IRAs, SEP IRAs, life insurance, investment planning, business succession models, Medicare. I mean, you name it. We're handling all of it. And the best way to kind of get a feel for what we do and who we are is to hit up our website at sharppoint.com. And Sharp is spelled SHARPE, sharppoint.com. You can get on there, see my mug. You can see Brian's, and tell you a little more about kind of how we think and what we do. But that's essentially who we are. We're wealth managers.
Am I allowed to mention on air that we do business with you? Or
Yes,
no?
you can mention. I'm not supposed to promote.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, so we do quite a bit of investing with you, kind of across the board, actually. Several different things that we do with you guys, whether it's kids planning for college,
Yep.
life insurance, things like that.
You betcha.
And I know you probably want to talk a little bit about life insurance today.
Yeah, so I mean,
Why don't you dive in?
Unfortunately, you guys work in the mortgage business, right? So you guys help people make some of the biggest financial decisions. You know, finding that home that they love. Josh then steps in, helps them find the appropriate mortgage for what
Right.
they're trying to do. Life happens. The reason I want to talk about this is I've had a few clients pass this year. So one of the things that I'm in the process of doing is actually helping facilitate that life insurance death benefit claim, right? Sitting down with the beneficiaries, getting the claim paperwork filled out. And eventually they're going to be reinvesting that money. And so one of the things I thought, as we always kind of talk these pieces of a person's financial life, the mortgage on your home, buying that home, make sure you protect that home for your family. And we call it mortgage protection insurance, but it's really just getting a really good term policy in place. So in the event that you or your spouse passes, you guys have the money to pay off not only the mortgage, but I always tell my clients, like, the biggest thing you need to have is 10 times your income, right? Most companies give you about 1.5 times in those group plans. So if you make $100,000, your benefit's probably around 150, probably just real generic ballpark easy math.
Well, in that case, Josh would need $12 million coverage or something like that, right, Josh?
I don't know, LaFleche. Go ahead. I'm just sitting here trying to listen.
Sorry, man, I got off to. I didn't get off topic, but I just
Sucker punched. I got some good questions for James. Come
Okay,
on.
let's go.
So to kind of to tee up the question, so essentially what I would recommend as a financial advisor, 10 times income, or at least maybe hopefully 7 if you can afford it. So your total benefit should be around $700 million. assuming you're buying around a $300,000-$400,000 house, you need to be able to have the money to pay off the mortgage. But again, college kids for their college funds, right?
Yep.
Kind of replacing. No one really factors in the loss of an earning spouse and how long it takes to recover. I mean, there's a lot of just that emotional connection of that first 6 months is just a pure agonizing, like slugging through life, right?
Yeah.
It's and then you have to go on, right? And then the kids go to college, the kids finish high school, and kind of replacing that. And the last thing I tell my clients, like the last thing I want to put you through is you struggling to work 2 or 3 jobs to replace that income when you're trying to deal with the loss of a loved one.
That's a
Right?
great point.
That's a really I can't say that on the radio.
Yeah, it's a crappy
It's a
situation.
very crappy situation to be in.
I just had a real life example. A lady call a couple weeks back that her husband passed a little over a year ago unexpectedly. See, this is the thing when it comes to life insurance, and I'm glad you're talking about this. Is that they have a couple kids, a boy and a girl,
Okay.
and she called me and she's at a loss, and now she's really struggling. They did not have life insurance in place because a lot of people don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
But if it does, and you have kids, man, it could be devastating,
It
like
is
you're
huge.
saying.
And I always tell people, like, get your life insurance while you're young and healthy because life happens. Like, I have a client right now, and I'm not going to use his name on the radio, but he's probably late 40s, early 50s. Well, he just had a heart attack, right?
Mhm.
So he's no longer insurable. So what I did was I went and found an old Banner term policy, and he has a conversion option, and he'll be able to convert to a permanent policy through that Banner policy,
Mhm.
and he won't have to go back through a medical. So I always tell my clients, if you're going to buy a term policy, get it one with a true conversion option because life happens. Like you just never know
Right.
where one day you're insurable and the next day you're not.
Right.
So,
But
but
you got
that,
a question?
Question, yeah. Often after I help a client buy a home or refinance, they get solicited through the mail or on the phone for someone trying to provide them like protection to pay off their mortgage.
Yep.
What's the difference between someone like that and yourself?
so a lot of times what they're trying to do is there's 2 ways that you can get mortgage protection insurance, and so one of them could be the beneficiary of the mortgage protection insurance is the actual mortgage company. Otherwise, or it's the beneficiary of the surviving spouse, right? And most times you got to have what I call I love you life insurance. Each of you has a similar policy, right? Especially if there's one of you is the primary breadwinner, right? One might be working, but one makes more money than the other. But again, that kind of dovetails back to, with the life insurance death benefit, you want to have more money than just to pay off the mortgage, right?
That's what I was thinking
Yeah.
when you were saying the 10 times.
And so, what's different between someone calling? They're probably seeing the difference between what the purchase price of the home is, what the equity in there is, how much money they put down,
Sure.
and what the mortgage balance is, right? So they're just trying to solve for the mortgage balance.
Balance, right?
I'm a licensed financial advisor. Our firm would sit down and we want to, while we're trying to solve that problem, we probably want to have a little bit deeper conversation about
Gotcha.
how many kids do you have, who's the higher earning spouse, and let's actually put something more substantial in place if the need fits. And like I'm licensed with over 30 insurance companies, so I can find you the right policy that fits the need, right? But I think it's important to really talk about past just paying off the mortgage, right?
Gotcha. So that's the difference. They're only
Yeah.
looking at that piece.
Yeah, and I
Whereas
think
you're
a lot of that
looking
stuff's
at
very
a higher
transactional.
level,
It's
right?
over the phone.
Gotcha.
We're going to send you an app in the mail, or we're going to take you over the phone. And I think one thing I think that this industry lacks sometimes is just that true face to face, right? You're sitting down with your client,
Right.
you're having those conversations, and I think they're needed.
Yeah.
Well, I think to your point, I'm sure it's a better job.
Yeah.
You get the full story.
Yep.
People are probably more willing to talk to you.
100%.
Yeah.
Does it cost anything to get a consult with you?
No, not it. No, consultations are always free with us.
Okay.
We got to make sure that it's a good fit for us as the advisor and you, the client. But like 9 times out of 10, like the people I work with, it's always like a really good organic fit, right? I'm a pretty easygoing guy, and so I'm a likable person. I generally work with people who are of a similar personality type, right? I'm not working with the A-type personality who's an asshole.
Right. Live on the Real Estate Power Hour, that's James Regan with Shark Point Private Client Group. Get a hold of him anytime. What's the best number for you, James?
480-999-3033.
Gotcha. Stay tuned for more of the show.
What do you think, Jeremy?
Can they bleep that out?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
James, that's the first time anyone's ever cussed on the show in 16 years. He said a-hole.
I'll have to edit it out.
Okay, thank
What
you.
will you
Can you do beep? Can you go beep?
I don't think I can beep. It'll just be gone.
Do you want to stick a word in there?
I mean, I could stick some kind of word.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
That's a first, you guys. You guys just witnessed a first. Wow. And just to think that I was going to be the first one to cuss on the show.
Hey,
That is funny. And you almost said shit earlier.
I know.
Dude, he's really on a tear. You sure you haven't been drinking Crown or some scotch?
Next he's gonna drop the F-bomb.
Jesus.
And then we won't be invited back.
God, thank God. Dude, are you...
They're using the F word and they're out of here.
You got a little sniffy? You got a little scotch in the car or something?
You're a Scotch guy?
I am. I'm a single malt.
Gotcha.
Single malt.
So you're not,
He
you
has
don't,
a dedicated room in his
you
house
don't like
for it.
Crown then?
I've had it
Throughout.
before. It's not my fave. So,
What is your fave?
of Scotch?
Yeah.
Like I really like. So the Scotch from the Speyside region of Scotland is kind of like that. That's where you get your Johnny Walker, your Glenlivet, your Glenfiddich, your
I
Balvenie.
have some of that.
So those are like your sweeter. They're not as meaty or not as meaty, but malty and
Bitter.
smoky.
What's Pappy Van Winkle? Is that scotch?
That is Scotch. I believe that's Scotch, or is that bourbon?
So you drink Johnny Walker or no? You don't? Like
I do
this?
like. I like their gold label. I like their gold and blue, which are obviously the more expensive ones. I think you can get really good Scotch for around $35-40. I don't think you need to be paying $200-300 for bottles of Scotch.
So
Yeah.
you just drink it straight up.
I like it neat with a few rocks. So it's my wheelhouse.
All right, we're ready. Do you want to hit sale leaseback company or what do you want to hit?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay.
Hey, you know what? That's perfect for Dory.
The sale leaseback?
Oh yeah,
there you go.
she was asking questions.
Cool. Yes, welcome back to the Real Estate Power Hour. Right here on KKNT 960, The Patriot. Hope you all are having a fantastic day. Weather's great in Arizona. I'm Jason LaFleche with Results Realty. If you're thinking of buying or selling a home, put my 25 years of experience to work for you. Plus, I'm going to give you some great incentives to use us as well for being a radio show listener. All you have to do is give me a call at 602-369-4663. And yes, I do answer my phone. Back into the show. Josh Nastal sitting right here with Homeowners Financial
James
Group.
in the house.
And James Regan with Sharp Point Private Client Group. We always have a good time in the
That's a great-
studio when
great
James is
guest.
here. Some great topics as well. Another one we're going to talk about here. Sale leaseback company Sparrow launches in Phoenix. Josh.
I just like when James here because I don't have to talk to you exclusively. I can always talk to James.
Remember what James said right at the end of the last segment?
Well, yeah.
Let's just have that carry
That was-
right on over into my comment
that
right
was-
now to you, my friend.
What a way to finish this segment, huh? couldn't really go out with more of a bang than that.
No, first time that our producer's going to have to bleep out a word. Wow.
Anything to
You
say
guys
for-
are welcome.
First time in almost
Hey,
16 years of
Just
radio.
got to keep you guys on your toes, man.
Anything to say for
Yes.
yourself, James.
We may have to have a trophy put together for that one for James.
So yeah, this is interesting. I want to get both your guys' take on this. So there's a sale leaseback company, seller carryback type thing called Sparrow that has just launched in Phoenix. Two guys, a guy named Patrick, I don't know, I'll probably butcher the names, Patrick Wellman and Jamie Schulman, are seasoned rental market experts who have managed over 75,000 apartment homes and single family rentals throughout their career. So basically what this company is going to do, and I don't really get the understanding of it, like who it would actually fit, maybe a small segment of people, but they'll come in, write up an offer on your home, buy your home from you, and then negotiate a quote for a monthly rent back where you can lease the home back from these people for a certain amount of time. The article goes on to describe that it's less restrictive than a home equity loan or a reverse mortgage. And basically that it's allowing the homeowner to receive their equity in order to pay off their existing debts such as student loans, medical costs, tuition for college, things like that. I guess what I want kind of your guys' opinion on, it seems like you're going back to renting though in that scenario.
Yeah, I mean,
Not really building
you're,
wealth.
You're getting your equity out of your home, but you've turned yourself into a renter in your property you just used to own.
I guess, yeah, and maybe you can chime in, Jay. Why wouldn't you just go, contact a professional realtor, sell your home, get the equity out of it that way, and then be put less down on another house?
Mm-hmm.
I guess the only thing I can think of is you don't have to move.
Right.
Maybe that's
Right.
maybe that's the the small segment of people that this is going to be tailored to.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I don't know.
I'd agree.
So
I'm just agreeing with you.
I mean, there are some people who love their neighborhood. Like, I get that.
Josh's face.
I think he was looking for more, Jason.
I know.
Other than I
geez.
disagree.
Well, so let's talk about your experience with leasebacks outside of this article.
I haven't done many.
Messy or?
I haven't done many leasebacks.
You know, I was saying, I was talking to one of your real estate agents earlier. I haven't done one or been a part of one for 3 or 4 years because they were more prevalent when you didn't have equity.
Yeah, usually, like when you're a buyer and you can't, let's say your credit has taken kind of a beating a little bit, and you're just kind of getting back on your feet. Maybe you're getting, you're going to do some kind of a lease back, or, they do more the carryback. I think Dory was talking more of like a loan carry, right, versus a lease back.
Seller carry.
A seller carry, yeah. And but the lease back situation, like when I had rental homes, I would do quite a few of the leaseback situations. The people are like, I want to buy this home 2 or 3 years down the line. But the fact of the matter is none of them followed through and ended up buying it.
Right. And now
It's interesting.
In that same line, does that person have any ownership in the house when they write up that leaseback? Because generally when I was doing them, and like I said, I haven't done them forever because really it's kind of a seller market. And why would you do that now when you can sell your home traditionally? But when I was, part of a few of those, they were putting a big chunk down initially.
Yeah, so they would have the option at the end of the term, whether it's a year, 2, 3 years, whatever the leaseback was for, they'd have the option to purchase the home.
Right.
And then it's like you put it in writing. Do we purchase it at a predetermined figure that you set, at the beginning of the leaseback, or do you go off of current
Market value.
Right, of whatever it appraises at? So it's a little bit of a gamble. Is the market going to turn and go down? Is it going to continue to go up? So that's all stuff that you discuss with the people, right at the beginning.
Here's the other piece, just because you're really renting.
Right.
And I've been a part of them where the person who was doing the leaseback skips out, loses the home. They get foreclosed on.
Yeah.
Doesn't even tell the person.
The other part of that is,
yeah, back in the day.
You know that rental is not like at fair market value. Like those guys are building in some premium.
You think so?
Oh, for
to
sure.
have that opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a premium rent.
Let's talk more about this a little bit in the next segment. 4th segment coming up. Stay tuned for more of the show.
It's probably how they're making their money.
Huh?
It's probably how they're making their
That's how
money.
they're making their money. There's no way that you're going to turn it around and lease at fair market value. You've given the consumer all their money out. Yeah, they're probably making money on the trade of the money out on some part of it, and then on the monthly premium.
Yeah, and what they do is, let's say the going rent is $1,500 a month for that home. Maybe they'll charge $1,800, and they'll take $300 of that and put it into some kind of an escrow account. So when they end up closing on it, they can use that as down payment, right? So it's kind of forced savings. But if they just bail on it and they don't follow through, then they could lose that.
Yeah.
So, but the thing that I liked about doing leasebacks was people took care of the homes more because they saw that light at the end of the tunnel that they're working towards buying it.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that a lot of renters they'll just remain renters.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a segment of people who just don't want to buy a home no matter what you do.
Yeah.
They'll rent a house.
Yeah.
But they won't ever buy it. Right? It's weird.
All right. You want to talk a little more about that and wrap it up just like that in a minute?
Sure.
All right.
And then we want to hit.
Um,
I'm going to roll it. We can roll. I have an article about renting. I can hit either renting or the home equity thing.
I like the HELOC thing. I'm going to talk about Maricopa County sees rapid growth, becomes fastest growing county in the U.S.
Who the hell wants to live in Maricopa? Are they talking about like Maricopa?
No, we're talking Maricopa County, not
yeah.
Maricopa City. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll finish that. You hit that, and if we have time, I'll go to the home equity.
Okay. All right, Jeremy.
Here we go, last one, 1450.
We'll be done before 11.
Yeah, we have been getting done right at 11. It's nice I'm keeping him on track.
Huh?
I'm keeping him on track.
Yeah.
The beast of the cage.
This is your 4th quarter of the Real Estate Power Hour. Hope y'all are having a fantastic day. Jason LaFleche here with Results Realty. Also in the studio, of course, Josh Nastal with Homeowners Financial Group and James Regan with Sharp Point Private Client Group. So in the last segment, we were talking about leasebacks. So if you've been renting for a long, long time and you're just not quite ready to buy, but someone is renting out their home, they're offering for you guys to lease it back. with the hopes of buying it a year, 2, 3 years down the line. So we were talking during the break.
Yeah.
I've had quite a bit of experience leasing back our rental homes because I did want to sell them 2 or 3 years down the line. I want to get past that 1 year investor, to where your taxable gain drops significantly when you sell it after you own it a year and a day. But the fact of the matter is, all the people that leased our homes, and I probably did 10,
I'm curious
12
to see what this
leasebacks.
number is.
Well, here's the thing.
How many bought them?
None of them followed through and bought. I
Zero?
swear, it's people that have been renting for a long time. And I know if you're renting right now, you may say, this is not me. I'm not going to rent the rest of my life. But a lot of people are just destined to rent the rest of their life. Now, there's quite a few people. One of the clients that I referred to you recently,
Yep.
closing on that home in 2 weeks. They've been renting for years. And now they're getting into the game of home ownership, and they are just tickled. They're stoked about it. But it really took, and I've known them for 4 or 5 years through our kids playing football together, and I've always just kind of talked to them about it. You guys should get in the home. You guys make good money, but they were just comfortable renting. But why not get into the game of home ownership, get the forced equity savings, the potential for appreciation, and then also the tax write-offs
100%.
of owning a home.
I want to make 2 last points, and we can move on to your topic, Jay. A shout out to James here. The same kind of scenario. I had a client right now who's going under contract today, who's been renting their whole life, but an unfortunate event happened where one of them passed away. But because they had life insurance, someone like James helped them out, they are buying a home with some of that money, which is, I think it turning.
That's a great way to take that life insurance benefit and really put it to the next generation,
Positive.
right? A
Yep.
positive, like,
Oh.
buy that house.
You hit it spot on, brother. He's buying it with his kid. He's
Yeah.
buying it with his son.
Yeah.
So those are the type of transactions that kind of make you feel good about what your job is,
Yeah.
And then the last piece about our leaseback, I think James made a very intelligent point, which is unusual for the show. But
Wait, say that again, James. James made what kind of a
very
point?
intelligent point.
Wow.
Which is unusual for this show. He mentioned that this company Sparrow, it is a convenience to stay in your home. But what do you go ahead, explain
Yeah,
yourself.
so I don't know their Sparrow from
Their
Adam,
model, sure.
right? But I would have to venture to say that even if you're gonna do that lease back, the rent's probably not going to be at fair market value. Like those
Right.
guys need to make money, and somewhere in the transaction. So I'm saying they're probably most likely going to be charging a rent above market. So you might stay in your home,
For the
you might get some of the
convenience,
equity out, but you're probably going to be paying an inflated rental cost to be in that property. Again, total just my opinion,
Speculation, sure,
I don't know that to be true, but as a business owner, and we're all business owners, like that's where you would have to go to make some profit in the trade.
You're totally correct in many, many cases.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, in the news recently, Phoenix, Maricopa County is booming, if you haven't noticed. And when I say Maricopa County, I'm talking Phoenix, Scottsdale, Tempe, and just Maricopa County in general, which comprises about 4.5 million people.
Isn't that nuts? There's almost 4.5, almost 5 million people in the
Just in Maricopa County.
Maricopa County.
Yeah.
I think I heard the stat, like we're like the fourth or fifth largest city in the country.
We're
Yeah.
right behind Houston.
Yeah.
So we bypassed Philly many years ago, I believe.
Yep, we're fifth.
Wow.
Isn't that nuts?
For the third straight year, Maricopa County is the fastest growing U.S. county, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Now it's the 4th biggest population in the nation for a county. That's huge. Jobs right now. According to Arizona Office of Economic Opportunity, nearly 70,000 non-farming, because there's a lot of farming jobs out here as well, spread over all of Arizona. But 70